Hi, I'm Nancy Murphy, also known as the Yellow Dot Artist. Today I'm going to do a Christmas tree. I'm going to try to recreate this that I painted a couple of years ago. It's not going to look identical and yours won't look identical, and that's not the point of the exercise. The point is to learn about color mixing, how to apply paint, the different paintbrushes you're going to need, and just have fun overall. So anyway, I'd love to see copies of your paintings. Just post them below or email me. My email is in the description below. Anyway, let's have a lot of fun. Okay, we're going to start off on the blank canvas by just sketching a triangle. It doesn't have to be perfect. This will turn into our Christmas tree. And I left a little space on top to draw the star or the tree topper. Then on the bottom, just draw a little square, and that's the stump. Next, you're going to draw some of the outside branches just by making little triangles. You can point them up, you can point them down. Go around the entire tree, each side, not the bottom. They don't have to be perfect. And again, in my painting, I started by having the branches pointing up, but I ended up painting them going down. You can change at any point. Okay, draw the horizontal line, and that's just where the tree sits. For this painting, we're just going to use the primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. They're on different sides of the color wheel. The inverted triangle will be the secondary colors that you get by mixing the red with the yellow to get a pretty orange. You need to mix really well so the colors are incorporated. Next, you're going to mix blue with yellow to get a very pretty green. Lastly, we are going to mix together red and blue to get purple. Now, this one's tricky. Depending on the type of red you use, it may have different shades in it, like a yellow, that make it kind of muddy looking. So you'll want to experiment with the different shades of red that you have and the different shades of blue that you have to get the color you want. So now what I'm going to do is the tertiary colors, and these are colors that you get by mixing one primary color, the red, the yellow, or the blue, with a secondary color of the orange, the purple, or the green. So here I'm taking the orange, which is a mix, with the solid yellow, and you get a little softer color of the orange. Of course, the more yellow you mix in, the lighter it'll be. And then I'm going to take the yellow with the green and get a nice line. Now the red with the orange. You'll get a little lighter red that has a hint of orange in it. It might be hard to tell from the screen, but it does look different in person. For the purple, it'll be like a deeper red or a purplish color. You want to mix the side colors next to it. So in this case, we're mixing red with the purple. On the other side, it was the red with the purple. Lastly, you want to do the green with the blue, and you get a deeper green. And there you have the color wheel. Okay, now to make additional shades, you can use a dark blue, darker than that, with white, and mix it with the different colors. That will give you a much larger palette to work with. So here I'm showing you if I mix a yellow with the white, you get a light yellow. Same with the green, and you work your way around getting softer colors or darker colors if you mix with the blue. Okay, now you're going to smear the paint all over the canvas. And these will be the parts of the color that peek out through the background color painted on top of them. Make sure the paint is very thin because you can't paint on it until it dries completely. And also don't overlap the colors you're smearing on. You want them to be nice and clean and crisp when you show them through the blue background or through the Christmas tree. It doesn't matter where you put the colors, just different places on the canvas. And it's fine to have plenty of white showing through. This is where the fun begins. We start mixing up different shades of blue so that you can color the background and the inside of the tree. And when you start to apply the blue, you want to make sure to leave peaks of or little spots of the color shining through. Not too much, but just little bits. It gives it extra sparkle. So since you can't see the mixing here, I'm going to show you a little bit better on the next column. Okay, clean your brush off, or your palette knife. I'm using a palette knife. So here is how much white I'm putting down, equal amounts of white for each of the shades. And then for the first pile of white on top, I'm going to use the most blue. That will make it the darkest shade. The second one I use half the amount, and the third half of that, just a touch. See, that's nice and blue. And finally, the lightest white. Mix it together. If it's too dark, add more white. But right now I'm realizing I need a darker blue, so I'm going to add more blue to that. And you see it's a nice shade. And one more. All right, we're ready to get painting. You want to make sure that it's dry to the touch. Well, I jumped ahead a little and painted the different shades of blue, and I just did that by smearing it anywhere and everywhere So you have some dark, you have some light blue, and if you don't have enough mix up, again, it doesn't have to be identical. Now you're going to go in and fill in the Christmas tree. Remember to leave some of the colors shining through because it'll look like Christmas lights on your tree. Just take your time. In person, you'll be able to see your line. On camera, it's hard to see where the background and the tree stand apart. The next part we do is color green on the Christmas tree. So you'll need different shades of green from dark to light. And you want to remember the color wheel that we did at the beginning, and that's how you get your colors. See here, I'm taking the lime and mixing it with more yellow to get a more vibrant lime. You can always add more of the blue or the yellow to get the color you want, or white if you'd like. Here I want it to be even more yellow, so I put yellow there, and you'll see how the color changes. You just have to practice and experiment. You have 8 different shades of green, bluish color, and you want to start painting the tree using the darkest green because that's going to provide some shadow for the different branches. And for some reason, the film isn't real clear, but it clears up shortly. You also want to make sure to move your brush in different directions so it doesn't look too uniform. As you add the different layers of paint from dark to light, start at the top and work to the bottom. And the lighter it gets, you want to add fewer strokes because those are highlights. And as you're adding them, move them in different directions, the paintbrush that is, so the branches look like they're going all over. Because a tree in the wild has branches that are pointing every which direction with the wind and how they grow. And also to make sure you leave some of the color coming through the different layers from underneath. And if not, you can go back and add them later on once the paint is dry. Now you're adding the snow to just the tips of the branches and not every branch. Move them in different directions just like you did with all the other layers. I'm using a 1/2 inch filbert brush that is rounded on the end to add some snow, and I'm twisting it around, but I don't like the look, so I come back later and add in with a different brush. I've noticed that the blue in the original had a lot lighter shade of blue in the background, so I'm adding that now. It's just adding more white to your light blue mixture. I'm just putting it here and there and everywhere. To paint a brush, it's very simple. You just draw a square, a rectangle, or a circle, any shape that you would like. You want to paint so that the boxes are either in front of or behind the other, or a standalone box. I'm just coloring it in. Some of the snow from before is in the way, and that's okay. Just paint right over it. Make sure to add layers. Let one layer dry and then add another because it might not cover the background the first time around. And it doesn't have to be perfect. As you'll see, I struggle with my yellow box to get the dimensions right. And that's okay. That's the great thing about paint. You can paint over and over. And the brush I'm using to paint them is a very small brush with a fine tip. It gives you more control. And you'll want to add a little bit of shading to give it dimension and a little bit of highlights. Here I'm adding the highlight to the top of the present. That's just where the light hits it. Blend it in the best that you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. I add a little light to the red to give the highlight on the red present. So the highlight is simply mixing in a light color or white to that color you would use previously. And to make a shadow, you just add a darker color to that. I added a little bit of purple to the yellow. I didn't really like it, so I add a little more yellow to the mix to tone it down a little bit. And some white. See, that's more subtle. Before you add bows and ribbons, you want to make sure the paint is nice and dry, just so the colors don't mix together, because not all colors look nice when they're blended. Periodically, you want to stand back away from your painting to get a different perspective. In this case, I stood back and I realized I didn't have enough color poking through, so I added that. And I didn't have enough of the white snow on top, so I'm adding that now. And if you have more colors or you're better at mixing, you don't have to stick with the 3 primary colors. You can use whatever you have available. That's the difference between the first painting on the left-hand side and this painting. I used many more colors in that, but I thought I wanted to make it very simple for the viewers by just having 3. The fun thing about painting is you don't have to just use brushes. Here I'm using a small sponge to dot on the snow, and I don't really like the look, so I move on to a different brush in a little bit. But you can roll up a ball of paper and use that to get an effect on the painting. You can use the end of a brush, not the brush portion, and make dots with it, or whatever shape the bottom of the brush is. And I'm letting plenty of blue shine through, because snow isn't completely white. It has different shades of blue in it, sometimes gray. Now, another fun part, just adding a star up at the top, or if you want to add a lot of stars, you can do that too. It doesn't have to be exactly like my painting. Okay, now I've mixed up a variety of colors and put them in the order that the Christmas lights are going to hang in. So I'm putting dots of the first, the blue, in different strings throughout the tree as it goes down. Then I do the same thing all over again with the red, the light yellow, the pink, the green, the bright yellow, and the bright red. I'm still not happy with the snow look, so I'm going to take a different brush. This is my angled brush It's probably my favorite. It's like a square, but it's cut at an angle. And it just has a real nice feel to it and gives a great texture. In the description below, I send you, or I provide links that send you to different places where you can purchase the different type of brushes I'm using. There's really no right or wrong to a brush. It's just whatever you like working with and you get the effect with. What's a Christmas tree without snow? So what you do to create this is you mix some solid white with a little bit of water so it gets kind of a thin texture. And you load up your brush and you splash it. You can either just flick the brush or you can run your finger along the side and it creates drops. And if you get a whole glob of it, you can just wipe it up with your brush or a paper towel. And just splash it all over the canvas. And there you go. That's the finished painting. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for other videos. You need to subscribe and like the video so you'll be notified. Head over to my website, yellow.artist.com, and check out all the new and exciting things I have going on.